As we wrap up today's AutoTech event, we're going to have one final interview with Sergey Abrosimov, CTO of Axiom, and Mike Reth, founder and CEO of Axiom.
Welcome, Mike. My first question to you would be, uh, why did Axiom decide to organize this forum? Why do you find digital transformation important, and why are you passionate about that?
I think it's a good question. We set out on a path 6 years ago when we started Axiom to be part of this industry, but we knew that we couldn't be part of it offering the same solution at a price point that could be easily matched and commoditized. So we focused on taking the paper promise and the $3,000 envelope transaction at the end of an F&I interaction and said, let's figure out a way to digitize that. Along our journey, which has been now 3.5 years of developing these platforms to work on doing just that, we've found that the industry ecosystem is lacking real information to share and to plug into. And today's event was a group of folks that not only do they understand digital transformation, but they're part of this ecosystem. They're sharing, they're doing, implementing technology processes to help the automotive industry shift. And so rather than put together a traditional cocktail party structure, we thought it would be better to gather these automotive influencers here at NADA 2019. We had a great audience over the course of the day today, asking brilliant questions, really getting information that they can go back and tangibly deploy inside their organization. So our goal today was to share a lot of information, and then I hope what happens is this is the precipice of sharing information amongst the industry freely, because we're all part of this. And to think that one organization is going to capture this and not share it is probably, it just doesn't work. So our goal today really was to capture information, share it with the industry, and we hope they find it of value.
Yeah, you mentioned industry. Could you talk a little bit more about the industry and perhaps give us some numbers as far as what the scale of this industry and how big it is?
Sure. The impact of what digital transformation means in the automotive sector has been demonstrated or projected to be close to $3 trillion. And that's in North America.
Yeah.
So you look at the impact of all the processes that are in automotive retail, automotive service, warranty, insurance tech. It is an enormous number that is impacted by how people own or utilize transportation methods. That information came out of a white paper study that was created by the World Economic Forum and also built by Accenture. And the information talks about the digital transformation from a consumer experience, the connected traveler, and the ecosystems that actually allow these consumer experiences to exist. So when you read that paper in 2016, it sounded very futuristic. However, the dates in which they describe those implementation strategies is 2020, 2021, where we're nearly 24 months away from the actuality of that. I think going to CES this year, we were able to see the North Hall in Las Vegas flooded with automotive technology. And not only the collateral that warranty insurance companies will protect with their products and their traditional insurance products, but how people will buy cars, how people will utilize transportation. I know that the brethren in our industry are focused on running their business efficiently, profitably, serving their customers, clients, and dealers, and we all have to do that. But the reality is that we need to start focusing on shifting, and it's not 7 years down the road. It's literally right now. There's partialized solutions, as we've heard from all of our speakers today. You can start now, and it might not be a full-blown online transaction like a vending machine for every auto transaction, but the reality of an augmented process that has better end-to-end experience points for a consumer absolutely can be executed on today.
Yeah. We talked about the digitally enabled consumer a lot today. Can you talk a little bit about what does that transformation or this revolution mean for the dealer and the F&I department at the dealership?
Yeah. One of the things that we've tried to do along this footprint and journey is look outside of our industry, because if we only ask the people in the room that have been on this journey with us, we get groupthink, and we don't really get the tangible evidence of what needs to shift and change. So we started looking outside the industry, and it's amazing to know that out of every retailer in the United States, 81% of them have a web presence. Of those 81%, 74% actually have a transactional site that will allow them to buy that good or service online. So when you think about the overwhelming experience opportunity for a consumer to buy something digitally, it exists everywhere. Mm-hmm. And everything from the smallest consumer good to the most sophisticated technology, anything from convenience to anything in your life you can actually purchase online. And we in the automotive industry have resisted. And some might ask, why? Why is it so hard? We do have some regulation challenges. I think that's probably what most people would point to first. But I think the reality is income protection, preservation of income, not only for the distributors and the dealerships, which is vital and very important, but I also think it's because the personal income of the people that work inside those dealerships. So we've got to come up as an industry not only with better products, better digital solutions in this experience for the consumer, but also give these salespeople inside our dealerships the ability to monetize this new process and still be rewarded for great selling and presentation and value building. And so that whole digital transformation that we're asking the dealers to go through, they shouldn't fear it. We've had great speakers today talk about the monetization of subscription-based ownership and digital retail platforms and the acceptance rates of what people are willing to do. I think now when we really look at that impact, we're going to see the adoption a lot quicker than it was when the internet really impacted the automotive industry. I was in retail automotive in 1995, and I remember the first consumer that walked through the door with an internet printout, and I brought that to my desk manager, and he was like, "What was this?" This was, a caveman seeing fire for the first time. He couldn't understand how the consumer had this much information, and it took 7-8 years really for the industry to say, you know what, I think this internet thing's going to stick and be part of the selling culture. And if you look now, consumer spends 8 or 9 hours online before they come into a dealership. So there's no reason for them to come back to that amount of time online only to spend another 4 hours in a dealership because there's a process that we implemented 5 years ago, 7, 10, 15. We need to modernize the approach, and this is where we talk about the impact of a digital transformation, both as suppliers, whether we're warranty providers, F&I providers, insurance providers, or system providers, process platforms, menu companies, DMS systems. We have to find ways to help them digitize the process to include the consumer experience.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned CES. What impact the introduction of IoT devices, a variety of sensors to the vehicles, and the connected world 5G, what impact will that have on the products that get?
Sure. I was impressed by the sheer amount of technology that will be inside an automobile, or as they were calling it, mobility. Yep. It wasn't actually a vehicle, it was mobility. And mobility might be a cube that moves up and down a selected route or grid system in a city. But it could be a hybrid autonomous vehicle, which will allow you to drive like a normal driving car today, but in certain instances you can relax your body and allow the vehicle to do more of it. What we saw was componentry being inserted into these vehicles that far exceeded anybody's capacity to understand what that meant. I saw a statistic that read that 61% of the entire vehicle value today is inside the cockpit and the dashboard of the vehicle. And so it's counterintuitive to think about a modern automobile. People think about the engine and the transmissions being so expensive. those mechanical parts are so vital to the propulsion of the vehicle. But the control of that vehicle is truly generated out of the ECM, the dash, infotainment, all kinds of modulars and sensors, body positioning, lane departure warnings, infrared technology. You think we're talking about a spaceship, but we're talking about an entry-level car at Kia with great technology and everything to the modern Tesla electronic vehicle.
Yeah. And obviously this brings up the topic of data, and data being the new oil, an issue of the privacy and data protection. So can you speak a little about technology such as blockchain and its application in the automotive industry and automotive retail industry?
Yes, I think that is a concern in every business sector when it comes to personal information, consumer information. We've watched constant loss of personal data throughout many businesses over the last few years. When the vehicle becomes a connected device to either you as a person, your phone, it's going to have information about you, and the ability to protect that is going to be vital and critical because it will be monetized. Yeah. And not unlike the use of data inappropriately in other fashions, this will be a way to control those consumers. So blockchain is being utilized successfully, and smart contracts are being utilized successfully in other aspects of fintech. So anything from monetization, banking, stock trades. In insurance, you could do the same thing because of the way the smart contracts work with an endpoint and data transmission in time. So as we as companies, again, get away from the simple paper promise that was processed through an administration house, we take that information digitally. When we start moving maybe upstream to the digital transformation of transacting with a consumer after the sale or upcycle before they actually enter the dealership, a smart contract using blockchain technology will not only lock down the validation of that insurance, but it'll also give some personal protections, data security for that consumer to know that their personal information is protected. On such a major purchase, I mean, an automobile purchase is not a simple type of transaction when it comes to the value of the vehicle and what have you. So there's going to need to be not only a process that can be documented as protected, but maybe there's even another insurance product like security data protection as it relates to those types of transactions. It's the modern version of credit insurance, but it's really to protect the data of the customer in the vehicle. So we're seeing the evolution of ID theft. We utilize it at Axiom all the time because it's a great value-added product. I see this could be a very, very large impact for data security and the connected car in the future.
So, do you see any paradigm shift in how industry players work with each other? I think today we talked about subscription model introducing changes such as how do we build consumers' credit history? How do we keep track of that? The ownership model has changed, so the credit history has to kind of go with that. So, and do you see any paradigm changes as far as, or any opportunities for the industry players to work together on certain concepts to advance the industry as a whole further, and by that improving customer experience and the value chain?
I think we heard one of our speakers today talk about the community effect of sharing information, roadblocks, and challenges. And from afar, we see other industries use open source and communities to share technology secrets and ideas to advance for the better cause of the industry. We have not yet done that as an industry as a whole, and and I think it's for competitive reasons, rightfully so. I mean, this is entrepreneurial spirit 101. But at the same time, what you get in collaboration and open conversation is the ability to build a solution that has a societal benefit. They're morally and socially responsible products that the community of providers, and there's quite a few providers out there that can all emulate and build upon. Not only that, then you have regulation and compliance that follows that as well. So to be able to collaborate with other industry players is absolutely vital. In fact, we're hopeful that after sharing this information over the last few days in our speaker series, that these forums will start to pop up at other industry events where we can actually openly share concepts to execute on these strategies.
Great. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, or perhaps provide a recap of today's symposium?
Yeah, no, I would say that one of the things that is vitally important to people to understand is there's a lot of information to digest after hearing from these influential speakers throughout the day. The reality is that you have to start now to think about it. Put a team together inside your organization, whether you're in a retail organization, whether you're an agent that's distributing product, whether you're an actual admin or insurance company offering these solutions, whether it's technology solutions, whether it's product types, loss data, things of that nature. You need to start putting a plan in place alongside your day-to-day operational strategy on when and how you intend to meet these needs. Having your current product try to represent the modern automobile, if you've not gone through and audited coverages inside your policy, I can assure you, after walking through CES last week or 2 weeks ago, you are covering things in your exclusionary coverage products that you have no idea exist. And so when you look at what's changing so rapidly is the technology in vehicles, if you don't have that forward-looking aspect in your business, it could really catch you by surprise. So I think that was one of the messages I learned today. And then the other thing that I saw from the earlier speakers was, don't be afraid of the shift. There is this concept that people won't shift quick enough. They don't want this. They're going to want to deal with the old process. And there's going to be a large majority of people in the maybe next 12 months, 24 months that will probably maintain that likelihood. But over the next 36, 48 months, we're talking 3 to 4 years. This is a blink from now. More of these types of transactions will be commonplace. Subscription will be commonplace. There are major companies and investments being made in subscription and partialized ownership in electric vehicles. And I think having product, a sales process to share with your retailers, new training coming out of F&I product providers so that you can help the dealer on this journey and transformation. This is an evolution in our business, and it was not unlike in the 70s and 80s when customers stopped paying cash for cars and started financing cars, and we used credit insurance and auto loans as a vehicle to make other additional income inside a dealership. There's so many new ways to make revenue and income inside a car dealership utilizing these modern approach. So I would think that it's consider the open ideas, create a community that's willing to share, and then ultimately put a tangible strategy together so that you have a schedule to keep up with what's next.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.